on here today and talk about how things come full circle, okay? I talk a lot about gut health, how important gut health is, how important it is to, we're doing this sugar detox and like eliminate sugar out of your diet. And there's a lot of things that encompass together, okay? We have the health aspect, the eliminating, the sugar, the diet, the supplementation to get the nutrients to your body. Then you have the physical, okay? Everybody has to move. Everybody has to exercise. That's just a fact of life. It's just like drinking water and eating food. Everyone has to do it. So everyone has to exercise. For each person, it's going to be different. Some people, it's going to be going out and running or swimming or riding a bike. Other people, it's going to be, maybe parking at the end of the parking lot and walking long distances or taking the stairs instead of the elevators because they haven't been used to moving. Maybe it's, going for a walk every night after dinner. But everybody has to move their bodies. That's important for your health, important for your mental, it's important for releasing toxins, getting the blood flow, like everyone needs to move. So you have that physical. And then you have over here the energy. Our bodies are full of energy. Our bodies are full of, electrical currents. We have our heart, we have our nervous system, we have all these electrical currents. And it's important to look at those as an aspect of your health, that it all encompasses together. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can work on your energy. If you have gotten into grounding, okay, having bare feet on nature, whether it's dirt, grass, whatever, that grounds you. Just like when you build a home and you have to ground the electricity in your home, your body needs to be grounded. Your electrical currents in your body need to be grounded. And so, years ago when man didn't have shoes and they walked the earth, there's a lot of health benefits of grounding yourself. And so we live in a society full of synthetic soles on our shoes. And so we're blocking that. We're not being able to be grounded to the ground. And so I encourage people, take off your shoes, walk in the park with bare feet, let your kids run around without shoes on. There's a lot of things out there that you can even buy grounding mats. You can buy grounding wires to put in your bed, and you're basically grounding it to a negative, ground in your house just like you would your electricity in your house. Everything has to be grounded. So there's a lot of ways to get the grounding that we need. There's a lot of modalities out there like energy healing, foot zoning, chiropractors that work in things, naturopaths, homeopathic, like all of those work on the energy and the healing and the detoxing and those kinds of things of your body. It's kind of that, the natural side of medicine, and healing the body that way to work on the electricity and the energy in your body, the self-talk, the positive affirmations, to not self-sabotage yourself all the time. Those all work on your energy. Like it's one of those things, like if you're a kid and you had a sibling that, oh, you look funny, you look funny, you look funny all the time, your mind starts to believe that. And even if it's not true, your mind starts to believe it. So if you can train your brain to think positive things, your mind will start to believe it. And that's part of that retraining your brain and creating that positive energy. And so, I always say it comes full circle. Like you have all these aspects. You have the physical, you have, the energy, and then you have the supplementation in your diet over here. And we live in a society where even if you eat clean and eat organic, you're still not getting the nutrients that you need. Food is depleted. Food is not enough because food is grown in soil that's been depleted over years. Food is picked before it's ripe. It's sprayed with chemicals so that it will ripen quicker. Animals are fed hormones. Chickens are fed hormones to produce more, produce quicker. And so even if you lived off the land and grew all your own stuff, your ground, it just does not have the nutrients that it needs. Your body actually has a bacteria called Akkermansia, and it's a good bacteria in your body. And by feeding it good probiotics and prebiotics, you can increase the amount of Akkermansia in you. And Akkermansia is one of the things that has been studied, that people who have a low Akkermansia in their body have issues with weight. And people that have a high Akkermansia don't have as many issues with weight. I don't know if you guys ever know, like, I call them skinny fat people, people who are skinny but should be fat because of the way they eat, or they don't exercise, they eat crappy, and you're like, how do you stay skinny? Like how do you have those wonderful genes? You know, well, it's not necessarily the genes, it's their microbiome in their body, that they have a higher level of Akkermansium in their body. And that Akkermansium helps them keep that weight off. Or somebody else who is eating good and exercising, do everything they can, and still struggles, they probably have a low Akkermansium, okay? That is something that used to be found in our soil and is not anymore. And so people used to get Akkermansia from growing their vegetables in their soil and getting all those nutrients. Well, the soil's depleted, and so your body's not getting it. So a lot more people struggle with Akkermansia than they struggle with weight because they're not getting those nutrients. So that's just one example of a nutrient that, like, you need it. So, you know, supplementation is very important. I put supplementation in the category of food. Put it in your food budget. Budget it in, because you need a good vitamin. You need a good probiotic. You need omegas. You know, you need prebiotics. You need all of those good supplements in your body to have your body function the way it needs to function. You know, you can detox your body and exercise and all those things, but you also have to replenish the good nutrients. And you need to have nutrients that your body is going to be able to absorb. There's 60% of the population has a mutated gene called MTHFR. And people who have MTHFR either have a hard time or are not able to be able to absorb synthetic nutrients. So you can have a really expensive vitamin that you buy at the store, and maybe you're just peeing out expensive pee because your body is not even absorbing those nutrients. And a lot of people have MTHFR. Like, I'm not here to diagnose or, you know, claim anybody, but from what I've learned is that people who a lot of times struggle with infertility, have PCOS, have to go have B12 shots, have low iron, have low vitamin D, are people that have some form of MTHFR because they're not absorbing the nutrients. And so if you have a good methylated vitamin, methylation basically means, in simple terms, it's a very complex thing, but in simple terms, it basically means it's in a form that's bioavailable, your body can absorb it. Your body does not have to methylate it or convert it to something it can absorb. So that methylation is very important. It's kind of like crushed plants in a jar. Like, it's in the most natural form possible so that your body can absorb it. I know I was somebody that, like, I've always had low vitamin D. You know, I'd go in and they'd be like, oh, you need 1,000. Oh, you need 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. And they kept upping the amount of vitamin D because my levels were so low. And the doctor would be like, oh, you need to just go spend time in the sun. You need to up your vitamin D. You need to go out in the sun. Well, I'm an exerciser and a runner, and I love to run outside. And it was actually during summer, and I was training for a race, and I was taking long runs. I looked at the doctor and I go, okay, I am outside in the sun for at least 2 hours every day. And I'm not a sunscreen person. Like, I believe you should get at least 10 to 15 minutes of sun exposure and then put sunscreen on if you're somebody that needs sunscreen. Our bodies were not meant to put sunscreen on years ago, that, like, people were out in the sun. They were farmers. They were in the sun all the time. And the sun is actually very healing to the body. But it's because now we live in a society that lives indoors. So when you go out in the sun, because your body's not used to it, the sun then causes damage. And so sunscreen is important for people that are not used to being in the sun. And so the sun can be very, very healing. And so I love to be out in the sun. Now, you know, I'm not against sunscreen at all. Like if I'm, you know, at the water park and I know I'm there all day long, you better believe I'm going to have sunscreen on me. But if I'm going for a run or going to go do some gardening and I'm not out there all day long, like I don't put sunscreen on. I enjoy the benefits of the sun. And so I was talking to this doctor. I'm like, I'm out in the sun. I garden, I run, you know, like I'm out in the sun, and my levels were just so low. Well, I switched my supplement to one that was a methylated vitamin, and it actually only had 1,000, you know, in there. And all of a sudden my levels totally came up and were where they needed to be. And he's like, well, what did you do different? And I'm like, well, I got rid of the 5,000. I got rid of the one that my body wasn't absorbing and actually took one that my body was absorbing. And all of a sudden my levels are where they need to be. So it's more than just going out and buying, you know, a cheap vitamin from the grocery store or the discount store or something. It's getting one that your body's actually going to absorb. If you're going to spend your money on something, you might as well invest a little bit more and have something that's going to do benefit. Otherwise, just, you know, burn that money, drop it in the toilet, because that's where your money's going. It's just peeing all right out. So that's where I, you know, talk about supplementation, exercise, your energy, everything. It all comes full circle. It can all help your body heal. Detoxing, your sugar detox, basically is one step in the right direction, because that sugar has overtaken a lot of things. And by having proper supplementation, then you're going to have the ability to like help control those desires. You can break those addictions and you can start feeling better. It's little baby steps. You know, I'm not a big fan of like make huge drastic changes in diet, exercise, supplementation all at once, because one, it's too hard. It's not maintainable over time. Most people, even if they do a diet, can only stick to it for so long, and then they just get tired of it and can't do it anymore. And you know, they need the calories because they've been depleting them so long or something, and they're not long-term sustainable. I am all for about things that are long-term sustainable, and small changes can be that. Small changes can be long-term sustainable. You can do small changes that then create healthy habits that then give you energy and a desire to make more healthy habits and more small changes. And you know what? Small changes over time equal big changes. Okay, so if you want information on supplements that I would love and I recommend, reach out to me, because I'd love to share those with you. You know, do your homework, do your research, you know, dig in deep and research things. You can like me, follow me, you know, reach out with questions at any time, subscribe to my YouTube channel, anything to get more information, because I love to help people. I love to get information out there and, you know, help other people. I was one of those people that I was a silent sufferer. I suffered with so many health issues. On the outside, I looked healthy, I acted healthy, I put on the pretty face, but inside I really suffered. I suffered with fatigue. I suffered with feeling like a zombie, just trying to make it through the day. Like I would wake up and go, what can I do to get to the end of the day today? Because that's all I live for, is just, can you get to the end of the day? And then at the night, I dreaded going to sleep, because I knew the next day would come. And I knew how tired I would be, because I knew that when I got in bed that night, I was going to lay awake for hours and I was not going to sleep, and my mind was not going to shut off. So I was going to be exhausted the next day. And I was probably self-sabotaging myself the whole time, because that's exactly what happened. I would wake up in the morning, whether I slept an hour or I slept 10 hours, I would still be exhausted. I didn't have the nutrients that my body needed. I didn't have the, you know, I did have the exercise and I was trying really hard with the diet, but I still struggled. I still struggled with those addictions and the cravings. I struggled with the, you know, not balancing my blood sugar. Like I just was all over the place, and you know, my emotions were all over the place. My energy was all over the place. And I just lost that desire to live. And now I've got it back. Like, it's so exciting to feel like you've got yourself back, to like be present and living in your life. That is the most amazing thing ever. So I love to help people and reach out to people. And I hope everyone has a great day.